In my life, reading has always been important to me and has shaped me into the person that I am today.
So even as a kid, you really loved reading, loved being read to, you loved books, and that hasn't changed. You did have a lot of difficulty with reading and learning how to read. That did take a little bit longer, but it didn't keep you from reading.
Growing up, I had a hard time learning how to read. I lived in a neighborhood many considered to be pretty rough, including my parents who opted to homeschool my siblings and I rather than send us to our district's public schools. With two working parents, homeschooling was especially hard. Often it was my 10-year-old sister trying to teach my 5-year-old self basic essentials, reading to me and helping the very best she could, despite only being a few grade levels above me.
I definitely made it accessible and available for you to be able to practice reading, made it so that you had someone to help you and made books available.
I didn't really get the hang of it until my aunt's neighbor, Miss Becky, spent a whole summer teaching me how to read and write before I entered the second grade, my first year in public school. From there, I really took off. I read The Cat in the Hat every day until I had it memorized. I flew through the bag of old Stephen Cosgrove children's books my Aunt Jen gave me, a different one every night until I was back to where I started, and then I read them all over again.
So you had a lot of books that you would try to read or make up stories to, but one of the first books that you were reading over and over again was The Cat in the Hat.
My love of novels started with a book about a library cat named Dewey. I was 9 years old, tearing through my very first chapter book in the back of my mom's Toyota Corolla, determined to finish the whole thing in the 4.5 hour trip to Breezy Point Beach. I finished it in just under 4 hours in the parking lot of a McDonald's while my two older sisters made fun of me for crying over a book. My love of books grew from that little library cat from Iowa to a dog named Buddy from New Orleans and a boy's love that was strong enough to reunite them after Hurricane Katrina. Then on to a little boy named Maniac McGee who ran away after losing his parents and connected a segregated town.
Things like Buddy from New Orleans and your love of animals kind of pushed you into reading that book, and that kind of helped facilitate you into wanting to learn more about cultures and learn more about reading into cultures.
My skill to read and to really understand felt like a superpower. I learned of different cultures and places I'd never been. I learned that to read in itself was a privilege, one I owed to my big sister Kara and to Miss Becky from across the street. My ability to be empathetic to animals, to people, to the very earth we live on, I owe it to the books that I've read, to the stories I've been told, and to the little tales that I made up long before I knew how to read or how to write.
I think when you were younger, it was more of just reading stories and like self entertainment, not much of a like meaning to you personally, versus now it's more of a social and cultural kind of thing of building and um, growing as a person, understanding different perspectives, and helping you want to help teach others do the same.
Whether tucked away in the library or cooped up in my bedroom, the words and worlds that overtook my childhood and gave me an escape that I needed, they shaped me into who I am, and I know that even now, as an adult, only 1 month from walking across the graduation stage and into a whole new world, they will continue to shape me and to help me grow into somebody that little girl from Forestville, Maryland can be proud of.